Hey, Phil, how are you? Ask me in about an hour or so. It's all gonna be over here now because of the indoors. Yeah, all the tables that are set up. Oh, yeah. No, I was just, yeah, they were supposed to be outside, but we I saw that. I'm gonna read it. Okay. There you go. I got it.
All right. Yes, that's good. All right, everybody, if I could have your attention for just a minute. We're going to get started in about 5 minutes, but I just wanted to go over a couple situational awareness details for today. So we have a lot of community guests here today. And originally we had planned on doing these displays that you've been seeing outside in the hallway. We're planning on doing them outside in the parking lot, but we're going to be doing them up here. So when everything is over, when Officer in Charge of Bossy finishes his presentation to the community, I'm going to ask you all to stay seated. You're going to hear this again. We're about to come back up. We're going to ask the press folks to exit first so they can go out into the hallway and sort of get set up. So we'll give them a minute, particularly for the cameras. And then Officer in Charge of Bossy and the AG and some of the other dignitaries who are here today will go according to the different stations that are set up. The stations coincide with the goals and the strategic report. You can see all of that. And then we will try to accommodate press after that for whatever sort of interviews you need, either out in the hallway or back in here. But as soon as Officer in Charge of Bossy and the Attorney General exit the room, the community members, we want you to go out and see the displays outside and meet some of the officers and the staff who are here. But we're gonna just pause for a second after that, let the press go out first. And then that's it. You all should have copies of the strategic plan on your chair. It's also available up on the website. There's a press release for the press that's going out that'll be available on the website as well. Looking how this works. So that's it. Are there any questions about anything? All right, then we are gonna be underway in about 5 minutes. It's gonna be a great presentation. And if the press needs anything, here's Whitney, there's Rob wave. If you need us afterwards for interviews or anything, grab one of us and we should be able to help you out. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Thank you. Please sort of the library. I know. Thank you. How are you? I know. And today is the day the elevator is not working, right?
Menos no irei bring the elevator.
Very upsetting. I have to
Yes.
go over there. Like very Thursday. Yeah. Yeah, I was told.
Keep the sheet focused behind him. We'll talk around, but I need to have a few people who are, talking about something. He's gonna wrap up 7 minutes.
Okay, so can you down?
You need to go, you need to go to the other section.
Come back.
And you know what? Library right now is running. The library during right here. That's fine.
What's up? Thanks for coming. Oh, should I do 6 months?
Chief. Oh, sorry. Joe, here. But there's some which is- Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Right here. You're over here. Are you? Right, just about ready to get underway. Sorry for the delay, we're waiting for a couple of people to arrive, but thinking about another 30 seconds or so, we'll be underway. Stay here.
Good morning. Attorney General Matthew Platkins, Officer in Charge Isha Abassi, and all distinguished guests. Welcome. My name is Corey Fleming. I'm the director of the Paterson Free Public Library, New Jersey's first public library. On behalf of the Library Board of Trustees, the staff, and the citizens that we serve, welcome. It's a pleasure to see many of you here, and we hope to see you again. Before I introduce our next speaker, I want to publicly thank Officer in Charge Issa Abbasi and the Paterson Police Department for the initiative to make Broadway corridor a safer place. In just a short time, this initiative has had a positive impact on the library and the surrounding community as a whole, so thank you. Now, I have the distinct honor to introduce the 62nd Attorney General of the state of New Jersey, Matthew J. Platt.
Morning, and I want to thank everyone for being here today. What an incredible turnout. I'm just looking and seeing so many incredible partners that we have in this city. And honored that you'd be here today. I want to thank the library director, Corey Fleming, for hosting us. We had a chance to speak in the back about the great work that is being done here in this building, which is, by the way, beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to walk around, if you're not from here, please do. And I'll talk more about the importance of why we're hosting this here in a moment. But before I do, I especially want to thank Governor Murphy, legislative leadership, our local representatives in Trenton and in Washington, Congressman Pascrell, Assemblyman Wimberly, Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter, Senator Nellie Poe, as well as the leadership team here in the Paterson Police Department. Officer in Charge Abbasi, the interim transition team led by State Police Major Fred Fife, Assistant Attorney General from my office, Joe Walsh, as well as all of the community leaders, the faith leaders, the partners, too many of you here to name from Paterson and throughout Passaic County who have been just instrumental in helping us get to where we are today. I also want to thank the local elected officials who are here for their partnership in this effort. Today, we recognize, and we're coming together to recognize the significant progress that the Paterson Police Department has made over the past 6 months, as well as, importantly, to look ahead at the strategic steps that will guide us as we chart the path forward for the important work that this department must do in service of the people of this great city. We're joined here today, as I said, because libraries are centerpieces of our communities. They're places that I take my kids. And they're not only where you come to borrow a great book or to do your research. I hope that's what everybody's doing when they come here. But they're gathering places, they're resources, and they're essential for strong and vibrant communities. They're also, in communities like Paterson, safe havens for many children who don't often have other places to go. They're places where everyone is welcome, students and seniors, interest groups, families. And about a month ago, I heard from a Paterson resident who told me that sadly they had long avoided taking their friends and family to this very building, in part because the area around the building was unsafe. But through the neighborhood revitalization concept that Officer in Charge Abbasi has implemented this summer along the Broadway corridor, this neighborhood blossomed, and the library once again became accessible to the children of Paterson as a safe and welcoming place. In the months since Officer in Charge Abbasi has been at the helm of the Paterson Police Department, I've heard countless stories like this. And in these moments, we get a glimpse of the fact that the community and our Paterson officers are flourishing. And we're reminded that together we can make a difference, and we are making a difference. This is a notable difference from the concerns I heard just 6 months ago, when I concluded that there was a crisis in confidence in law enforcement in this city, and I took the extraordinary step to take over its police department. And I want to be clear, much work remains to be done. This is not no mission accomplished banner here. We have a lot of work to do to ensure that we live up to the high expectations that this city and its residents rightfully have for its law enforcement professionals. So today, we're not only here to talk about the changes that have occurred, but we're here to talk about the future of the Paterson Police Department, as well as the changes that are already in progress. Changes that can be felt by each and every resident, every business owner, every community member, and every officer. Just a few weeks ago, 2 of our Paterson Police Department officers were flagged down during their patrol because an understandably panicked parent didn't know where to turn when they found their toddler unresponsive. As the father of 2 young children, I can tell you there's no greater fear than that moment. Those officers sprang into action. They put their training into practice and they saved the life of that child. Those officers accompanied the family to the hospital and remained with them until they knew that everyone was safe. I want to take a moment to recognize those 2 officers today, Officer LaTrenta Grayson and Yaniri Medina. Please stand up. It's officers like Officer Grayson and Medina and so many others who come to work every day not knowing what challenges they face. I suspect you didn't know when you got up to work that morning that you were going to get that call. But they face them knowing that they're part of a department and part of an effort to restore faith in a police department and improve public safety for the residents of the city. I also want to congratulate Officer Grayson, whose son graduated from the police academy just last week and has joined the ranks of this department. Of course, we shouldn't fool ourselves. Anecdotes alone don't demonstrate success. But the evidence that we're seeing is real, and I am confident goes well beyond the mere anecdotal. Take a look at our latest data comparing 2022 to 2023. We can see that there is a significant reduction of crime across the city. Officer in charge Abbasi will give you a more detailed review of that data, but I'm pleased to report that a year-over-year comparison shows that the most violent crimes, murders, sexual assaults, robberies, are down 26%. 26%. And shooting incidents are down 32%. That doesn't happen by accident. And downward crime trends are one measure of improvement. They're not the only measure of improvement. But I'm confident and hopeful that we'll continue to see those numbers drop as we continue to do the hard work to transform this department. 6 months ago, when my office walked through the doors of the Paterson Police Headquarters, I believed that most of the officers in this department truly want to serve this community. And I can tell you that our hunch was right. The officers of this police department have risen to the challenge and are committed to providing the people of Paterson with the police department that they deserve. And frankly, we understood that members of the community would have concerns and uncertainties about whether real change was truly possible. Some of the issues that we are facing have been around for decades, and I understood their skepticism. And I hope that the people of Paterson are not only seeing that change is within our grasp, but that they are an instrumental part of making that change happen, that they are part of the process. Each day since March 27th, my office initially, as I said, through a team of professional and dedicated leaders from the Department of Law and Public Safety at the state, as well as some of our finest from New Jersey State Police. And then for the past several months, through the officers of the Paterson Police Department under the leadership of Officer in Charge Abbasi, they've been working tirelessly with members of the community to make Paterson a safer place to call home. This work has been made possible by the support of Governor Murphy, legislative leadership, Speaker Coughlin, and Senate President Scutari, and the Paterson legislative delegation led by Senator Poe, Assemblywoman Sumter, and Assemblyman Wimberly, who have all understood from day one that significant resources would be necessary to accomplish this mission. And as part of the current state budget passed in June, they've allocated substantial resources to the Paterson Police Department. We simply could not succeed here without their collective commitment to the city of Paterson and its residents. And we've been well served, as has every resident of the city, by their partnership with the Paterson Police Department. So again, let me be clear that our work remains far from over, and we remain committed to working together with the residents of this city to reimagine its police department. Under the 2023 strategic plan created by Officer in Charge Abbasi in collaboration with the community, which he's going to detail in a few moments, we've established guideposts by which we'll measure our progress. This plan is rooted in the many comments shared with us during those early listening sessions, which took place across the city in every ward, as well as the concerns raised to and raised by our officers. The plan is ambitious, but we know that it was necessary to build and sustain a law enforcement agency that will be a model for others, not just in New Jersey, but I believe across the country. I would argue, and I think you'll see when you see this plan, there is no police department in the country voluntarily taking on the kind of reforms that we are bringing here. There are distinct initiatives, benchmarks, and measurements that will help measure our progress, but we also know that the true test will involve subjective measures. Do people feel safe? Do people trust their police department and its officers? Are community members and officers proud of the department that is presented to the community? As you know from relationships in your own lives, and I'm sure we can all relate to this, trust doesn't get built overnight. It's not something that I can deliver from a podium. Instead, it's individual actions and encounters that occur over a long period of time that build upon each other a foundation on which trust can be established. And as I've said many times, trust is a really hard thing to build, and it's a very easy thing to break. And we are in that building phase. Each day, we're taking steps and making inroads that will strengthen that relationship. So just look around Broadway, which is a hub of life in Paterson. Just a few weeks ago, a business owner flagged down some of our officers to thank them for their presence. He let them know that he had decided to add flowers to the front of his business to help beautify the neighborhood. Obviously, in some ways, a small gesture, but I think given how far we've come and how far we have yet to go, it's a significant sign of progress. At community roundtables, residents and officers have gathered around tables to have frank conversations about what they see, what they need, and how they can be partners in a community-led approach to public safety. Paterson officers are routinely in the community, and I should note are routinely from the community. They're constantly at parades, cultural events, fairs and festivals, sporting events and summer camps. They're led by Lieutenant Sharon Easton, commanding officer for community partnerships, who is known throughout communities in Paterson for her fun-loving nature, her warmth, and her authenticity. There's that smile. I've gotten to see that smile quite a bit over the last 6 months. Beyond these interactions, though, my office is supporting the department by offering the resources, funding, and support that it needs to transform itself into a next-generation department ready to face the complexities of policing in the 21st century and beyond. This includes coordination between the Paterson Police Department and our statewide Regional Operations and Intelligence Center, led by State Police Lieutenant Colonel Joe Brennan, to ensure that we're using the most up-to-date technological innovations to provide public safety to our residents. We've already revised department policy and guidance to require that officers be equipped with alternative, less lethal devices, including OC spray and conducted energy devices such as tasers, to prevent unintended or avoidable uses of deadly force. We've issued cell phones to every member of the department to increase efficiency and information sharing, as well as to improve internal communications and community outreach. And we are continually reviewing department policies to modernize the department's operations and ensure that Paterson Police Department officers are best equipped to serve the community while enforcing the law. Officer in Charge Abbasi is going to go into much greater detail about those steps in a moment. But let me set some expectations. As I said in March, this process is going to take time. We're not going to do this overnight, but we are moving swiftly ahead because we know that the people of Paterson deserve a department capable and ready to serve them. At the helm of this change is Officer in Charge Issa Abbasi, a over 25-year veteran of the New York City Police Department. You'd never know it from his accent. Someone who came to Paterson with an understanding of both the challenges that the department was facing and a record of rebuilding trust in communities where abuses had taken their toll on community police relations. Officer in Charge Abbasi often refers to Paterson's residents as customers, and that outlook is exactly what is required to understand that we in law enforcement are here to serve every person, many of whom come into contact with us on their very worst days. Officer in Charge Abbasi and I both believe that the relationship we build in good days, I'd say a blue sky day, but that wouldn't exactly be fitting today. The relationships we build at parades and festivals and summer camps and in those routine interactions that we're having in corridors like the Broadway Bowl corridor, will allow us to earn the trust of community members when they meet us again during emergencies and in more challenging times. And I also know that neither of us will be satisfied until every Paterson resident is confident that when he or she picks up the phone, calls 911, that the person who answers that phone and shows up at their door has their back and will treat them with the dignity and respect that all of us deserve. Over the past few months, Officer in Charge Abbasi has proven that he's up to that task and that he is not only prepared, but is already running one of the largest police departments in the state. He's doing so with poise, with leadership, and with compassion. He's worked with his leadership team to implement data-driven initiatives that have already proven successful, as we've seen through the reduction in crime that I mentioned earlier. And while I expect a lot from him, and he knows that, in terms of progress, planning, and strategy, when I call him and when we speak, which is often, he's more likely to be out in the community than he is behind his desk. While Officer in Charge Abbasi is a great communicator, he understands that communication begins with listening, and listening is best done in person. He's demonstrated his dedication to the city and his commitment to the individuals who make up this department. He's leading the police force by example, with dignity and compassion, and I'm honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with him in this effort. It is my pleasure to introduce Officer in Charge Issa Abbasi, who will share with you his strategic plan for the Paterson Police Department.
Thank you. Thank you, General. Good morning. I'd like to first start by thanking the Attorney General, Matthew Placken, Governor Murphy, First Assistant Attorney General Lindsay Rotolo, Assistant Attorney General Joe Walsh, New Jersey State Police Major Fred Fife, and of course, my Chief of Staff, James Haggerty, our state and local elected leaders, the administration, Mayor Andre Saya, and all of the community and faith leaders that are here today. This is an exciting time for us. We are here to reveal our 2023 strategic plan to move public safety forward here in the city of Paterson. This plan is about honoring commitments. We came into Paterson months ago with a vision to rebuild trust and restore order in our community, a vision to transform community policing, a vision to evaluate, innovate, and improve upon the status quo with a focus on the training and well-being of those sworn to protect and serve this community. Taking a closer look, our plan contains 55 interrelated initiatives. These initiatives, along with other day-to-day policy and management improvements, will all serve together to transform this police department into a regional leader in next-generation policing. We'll be issuing semi-annual progress reports, with the first progress report expected in February 2024, and a status report in the summer of 2025. When you look at our progress to date, you can see that we certainly hit the ground running. Of our 55 total initiatives, 35 are currently in progress. 13 have already been completed, and only 7 initiatives are not yet started. Looking at our short-term initiatives, of the 22 short-term initiatives, more than half, 55%, have already been completed. The remaining initiatives are anticipated to be completed by their January due date. Also highlighting goal 1 of our strategy, regaining public trust, restoring order in our community. It certainly received a level of focus from us, from our community stakeholders, and from our elected officials. This warranted an 89% focus. 89% of our initiatives have a goal 1 focus. And we see the results of that already. The change in culture and mindset resulting in improving sentiment in our community. We still have a way to go, but we routinely see ordinary citizens stopping us in the streets to testify to the fact that they see and feel the change. As part of our visioning, we spoke to hundreds, if not thousands, of Patersonians. And over and again, we heard recurring themes. Address courtesy and accountability. Move internal affairs and civilian complaint interviews out of police headquarters. Have officers be more visible in the community. And increase transparency while seeking sustained community input. These are themes we heard frequently, and these are themes that you will see addressed in our strategic plan. As I go through some of the highlights of our plan, realize that these are just some of the things we've chosen to demonstrate the magnitude of the change we are making. When it comes to transparency, we've made significant improvements to PPD's web presence, including making information such as discipline and crime data more easily accessible. Supervisory oversight, especially frontline supervision, is where many law enforcement agencies struggle. Achieving appropriate levels of field supervision often is the best mitigator of unintended and unwanted citizen encounters. To date, we've made significant policy changes that touch on supervisory oversight, but two that I'd like to highlight are that we now require dispatch of a supervisor to the scene of every arrest to verify the circumstances and validity of that arrest. Additionally, we require dispatch of a supervisor to the scene of persons in crisis where individuals may be a threat to themselves or others. We've also made some significant policy changes around officer responsibilities, requiring that officers be trained and carry less lethal options on patrol, where in some cases it was optional before. It is now mandatory that officers are properly equipped to provide alternatives to deadly force in certain situations. We are also formalizing our policies around civilian police encounters and making more information available about a citizen's right to know when it comes to these encounters. Part of that effort is the soon-to-be-released PPD contact card. These cards will be required to be carried by all sworn members of the department. If a member of the public would like more information about an officer, how to make a complaint, provide a tip, or even compliment the police, they may request an officer's contact card after a police encounter or interaction has resolved. On the front of the card is the officer's name, badge number, the telephone number and address of headquarters, and a space for the officer to include any optional information, such as report numbers, email addresses, and cell phone numbers, depending on the circumstances. On the back of the card, a QR code will link the police encounter questions page on our PPD website to the member of the public. Information about how to interact with the police during an encounter, as well as access to our tip line and tip portal. You will also be able to file a complaint against an officer or submit a commendation for exceptional service. To continue the conversation that was started so many months ago, we will be continuing our listening sessions this fall. One meeting a month, selecting a different ward each time, and finishing up with a citywide virtual meeting. We will also be conducting our police community roundtables, bringing together small groups of officers with small groups of community members to talk about public safety in our city. True community participation can only be achieved if we're hearing the voices of the community on a sustained basis. Another way that we encourage this is through the establishment of our 3 councils. Coming this December, the Police Advisory Council will be made up of a small group of influential community members who will directly advise me on where we are going right, where we can be doing better, and how we can address the needs of our community. The PPD Community Council, coming in the first quarter of 2024, will be made up of citizens elected by the community to support the police department while advocating for the needs of our residents and businesses. And then finally, our Interfaith Clergy Council, which I'm proud to say is in the process of launching. Our faith-based community has elected our president and vice presidents. I would like to personally congratulate our Clergy Council president, Pastor Michael McDuffie, who happens to be standing right there. First Vice President, Pastor Michael Odom Sr., and our second Vice President, Dr. William Henry. These leaders of our faith community will be building a strong clergy alliance to spiritually support our faith-based community and this police department. Another exciting initiative that will assist in redefining community policing in Paterson is the planned designation of 12 ward-based community coordination officers. Coming in 2024, these members, 2 per ward, will serve as the department's liaisons, not only to the community, but to other city agencies, state resources, violence interventionists, and local service providers to facilitate or coordinate delivery of services to a specific area of the city based on their knowledge and expertise in the assigned ward. These officers will be expected to maintain close relationships with community members and hold quarterly community meetings to ensure that the PPD stays aligned with the goals of our residents. Building this culture of expertise in the community must start early. Part of this culture change has already begun with our newest officers. As many members of our community can attest, Paterson's finest start their careers early on and on foot now, getting to know the people they serve up close. In addition, we have begun cultural immersion training for all new hire officers, exposing them early on to the diversity of cultures and customs Paterson has to offer. I often say to my command staff, you must sample your product. One of the ways PPD will do just that is with the planned 2024 launch of our community sentiment survey. Through this ongoing survey initiative, we will be able to continuously sample customer feedback so that we may tailor our product to those we serve. For too long, law enforcement was not seen in the light of the service industry that it has become. Changes in Paterson are led through the use of technology. Perhaps one of the most exciting technology announcements today is a real game changer when it comes to police accountability and professionalism. I am happy to announce that thanks to resources and funding from the state of New Jersey and support of the Attorney General, the PPD was able to contract with Trulio, a body camera review and analysis technology company, to be the first police department in the tri-state area to bring this cutting-edge technology to the region. This platform uses artificial intelligence and voice recognition to review, analyze, and classify 100% of our body-worn camera data with the goal of increasing professionalism and improving police interactions in the community. The technology has been successfully demonstrated in other areas of the United States to significantly increase professionalism, improve community compliance, reduce uses of force, and improve the efficiency of supervisory review of officer interactions. By implementing natural language processing and event classification technologies, the Paterson Police Department has established itself as a regional leader in the use of body-worn camera review as a tool to promote culture change. Other exciting technologies on the horizon for PPD include the recent deployment of cell phones to every member of the Paterson Police Department. These phones will improve upon our ability to communicate with our officers while providing a tool to increase situational awareness, improve efficiency in information access, report taking, and also provide a connection between the officers and those we serve. And coming in 2024, Paterson will join the ranks of those agencies at the forefront of real-time data and information analysis through our Real-Time Operations Center. Our members will be able to maintain situational awareness of safety and security concerns on a citywide scale. This will help us manage special events as well as respond to and investigate crime and safety concerns with speed and precision. Responding to community concerns is the hallmark of our neighborhood revitalization program, perhaps best illustrated by the Broadway initiative, which has gotten so much attention, and the reason why we're here today. Identifying portions of the community, areas of the city that are resource deprived, or where the quality of life conditions are overwhelming. And in the case of Broadway, where we've heard so many stories of grandmothers who can now walk to the library with their families, or residents who can now take a stroll without fear down this gateway to the city, Broadway has become a billboard for what change can look like in the city of Paterson. But it can't stop there. I'm happy to announce that we'll be expanding neighborhood revitalization throughout the city. And what you will see is that starting in mid-October, we will be instituting nighttime walking patrols in 5 areas of the city, which are indicated in green on the map behind me. And our next neighborhood revitalization initiative will be in downtown Paterson, where we will be out there from Monday to Friday during business hours, making sure that we are addressing parking conditions, traffic congestion, illegal vending, and other concerns voiced by our residents and business owners. Hand in hand with neighborhood revitalization is a collaborative effort between the PPD and the city administration, working directly with Mayor Syed. We are together developing a public-facing shared accountability model, aptly named PATSTAT by the mayor. This forum will be a venue for the citizens of Paterson to see government in action, informing the public and addressing concerns. We look forward to a launch of PATSTAT this fall. To help inform these important conversations, we are also announcing that this week, we will begin, on October 2nd, we will begin publicly announcing crime data on the PPD website. Crime data is one important indicator of community safety. And with this week's launch, we hope to inform and enable many more conversations. Following historic crime reduction this summer as a result of our summer strategy, crime in Paterson for the year to date is down significantly. With a 7.4 overall crime reduction, all major indicators are also down. Notably, murder down 57%. Robbery down 24%. Aggravated assault down 14%. Shooting victims are down 22%, and shooting incidents down over 31%. This success is a shared one, with thanks going to all of the partners in our community that have participated in making change in Paterson. To continue on this trajectory, I would like to demonstrate some of the ways we will continue to build trust and cultivate the future. Some of our longer-term initiatives include identifying spaces in underserved parts of the city and creating safe places to engage with people in our neighborhoods and build bridges to youth. You can also expect that we will be relocating our internal affairs functions out of police headquarters and create a more public-friendly environment to report complaints or interact with investigators. And with the recent creation of our Community Partnerships Bureau under the leadership of Detective Lieutenant Sharon Easton, we will be enhancing our recruitment capabilities, as well as creating a collaborative policing unit to explore non-enforcement options for police officers to achieve our public safety goals. Also under this bureau is our Community Affairs Division, who you see today in the new lighter blue shirts. These officers will be available to interact with you later today. And finally, one of our favorite announcements, our employee health and wellness section, which will be launching soon. However, we have already launched our facility K9 program with the acquisition of Dave, the black lab pictured here, and Yoda, the yellow lab. Thanks to our tremendous partnership with a great organization, Puppies Behind Bars. Dave and Yoda have been visiting our members at work during roll call and are available to them on and off duty. Dave and Yoda have also been out in the community, making friends and always ready to start a conversation about mental health and well-being. In closing, these are some of the highlights of our 2023 strategic plan. You will find that in our strategic plan booklet, all 55 initiatives are listed, along with a description of each of our 4 goals. In the back today, down the hall, you will have some exhibits set up for you, where you can meet Dave and Yoda, chat with some of our professional standards folks, along with Trulio representatives, and you'll be able to interact with our Community Affairs Division and take a closer look at our PPD contact cards. I hope that this presentation today illustrates to you our commitment to move this agency forward to the best practice horizon of law enforcement and beyond. The next generation of public safety is here in Paterson, New Jersey. Thank you.
Let the press out the room for a second. Take a seat for a quick minute. The cameras want to exit for a minute.
How you feel?